Gracias, Madam Vice President. Madam Al-Nashif, Deputy High Commissioner, Your Excellency, Mrs. Nadia Kulova, Excellencies, civil society partners, children, and UN colleagues, good morning. It is a pleasure for me to join this important panel today as we reflect on the critical role of education for peace building. The world is at a crossroads today, with an increasing number of conflicts totaling 56 in 2024, the most since World War II. There is also a rise in countries involved in conflicts beyond their borders, growing militarization, worsening intergroup tensions, and a record 120 million people either internally displaced or refugees due to violent conflict, violence, or human rights violations. Approximately 10 to 15% of conflicts worldwide are exacerbated by religious differences, and religion often plays a role in most conflicts in regions where religious identities intersect with ethnic, national, and geopolitical issues. In most conflicts around the world, education is often used as a tool to promote fear of the other, superiority, or exercise exclusion of certain groups of the population. This is important to note, because education per se is not a solution to violence and conflict, as education is not neutral. Education has two phases. It can either promote mutual understanding and respect of the other, trust and collaboration, or it can exacerbate divisions, polarization, hatred, and fear of the other. Education becomes a driver of conflict when it is made accessible only for some, when it is used as a political tool to claim superiority, when it divides children according to socioeconomic groups, gender, religion, ethnicity, or abilities, when it denies possibilities for learners of a particular group to learn, when it contains content that depicts the other as an enemy, and when it fails to address cultural violence and the inequitable ways in which at times education systems function. An analysis of textbooks around the world, particularly in conflict-affected countries, show value-loaded language presenting images of the other as enemies, exaltation of war heroes, and glorification of violence. We know that if we trace the conditions that have led to genocide in many parts of the world, textbooks and education are found to have played a critical role. And religion has often been misused and misinterpreted to justify violence against the other and condone exclusion and discrimination. And this is why education needs to play a transformative role to contribute to peace in our societies. Based on Arigatou International's 20 years of experience working on ethics education programs to foster learning to live together and working closely with ministries of education, CSOs, religious communities, and children in more than 50 countries around the world, I would like to offer the following reflections and recommendations. First, education for peace goes beyond peace education. Peace education often refers to content and activities to enhance children's competences to live in peace with others. Education for peace is much more comprehensive, aims to ensure that education systems as a whole, its content, structures, teaching methods, curriculum, and ways of delivery and management promote equitable relations, inclusion, and quality, and addresses the need of all groups of the population, challenging structural violence and divisions in communities. Through our education programs, for instance, in Kenya, and most recently in Indonesia, Nepal, Mauritius, and Bangladesh, we have engaged with governments to deliver peace education content in schools, but also to review and strengthen curriculum, pre-service and in-service training of teachers, pedagogy and educational materials. Teachers engaged in the program have reported better ability to use learner-centered approaches, and findings show a noticeable reduction in the use of corporal punishment, with alternative behavioral management strategies like dialogue becoming more common, as well as disengaged learners showing improvements in behavior, engagement, academic performance, as well as well-being. Second, education for peace requires a whole community approach, because building sustainable peace is not just about changing individual attitudes. It involves transforming societal norms, structures, and relationships. If we want education to help challenge polarization and transform the deep social and political divides in our societies, this requires a collaborative engagement between diverse stakeholders. In Seychelles, we are working closely with the Ministry of Education as they have initiated a comprehensive process to integrate ethics education into the national education system. This effort, led under the mandate of the President, approved by the Cabinet of Ministers, and led by the Secretariat of Education Services, involves engaging religious leaders and communities through dialogue, training teachers in ethics education transformative pedagogy, ensuring ethics education curriculum integration from preschool to secondary education, involving parents, caregivers, media outlets, and the university, and organizing community events to promote peaceful coexistence. Third, education for peace should empower learners to work together across differences to transform their communities and address the common issues that affect them. Findings from our monitoring and evaluation programs in several countries show increasing children's capacity to deal with conflicts in non-violent ways and to propose solutions to conflicts or situations affecting them or their communities. We have seen children in Kenya from diverse ethnic and religious groups challenging the normalized divisions in their communities, moving beyond fear of the other and embracing their differences through collaborative projects. We have seen Roma children in Romania feeling included and welcomed by others in their classrooms. Christian, Muslims, and Jewish participants from Israel, Palestine, meeting together for the first time to talk about their shared land and challenging their understanding and prejudices about the other. Or Indian children and youth from all socioeconomic classes and religious backgrounds working together to develop a food bank to address poverty in their communities. And last but not least, education for peace requires strong institutional commitments and leadership, as well as collaboration with the humanitarian, development, and peace-building sectors. It requires targeted investment across line ministries and coordinated approaches to ensure that education responds to the challenges of societies. In countries in wars and during crisis, education priorities should go beyond ensuring access to provide mental health and psychosocial support, social, emotional, and spiritual well-being, and ensuring that children, despite the challenges they face, can have access to build the skills and nurture ethical values that can strengthen their resilience, capacity for forgiveness and reconciliation, and their ability to learn to live together with others. Let me end with this quote from Nelson Mandela. No one is born hating another person because of the color of their skin, of their background, or their religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Thank you.